When the person in these text messages presents scientific data to keep their household safe, Paul dismisses it. When asked to provide a single piece of evidence for his counterclaim, Paul simply replies, "I can say it." Paul then characterizes the request for evidence as aggressive and abusive. By framing the basic burden of proof as a personal attack, he shuts down the conversation and demands that the user stop texting him entirely. This denial of reality extends to medical diagnoses. Here, Paul rejects the user's autism because they were a class clown as a child and didn't exhibit a specific set of physical stereotypes, like hand flapping. This is the mechanism of epistemic trauma. It occurs when a person is consistently punished by their primary social group for accurately perceiving the world. Over time, this environment erodes a person's trust in their own senses and intellect. The user lives within this system as a disabled adult. They are physically and financially dependent on the very people who actively work to erase their medical and intellectual reality every day. This pattern of gaslighting is mirrored by the larger medical and governmental institutions the user relies on for assistance. During disability evaluations, doctors often spend less than 5 minutes with the user. They disregard documented histories of complex conditions, instead using brief, high-pressure physical tests to conclude the user is capable of working. These evaluations treat interconnected symptoms as isolated silos. By refusing to analyze the combined functional impact of chronic pain, mobility issues, and trauma, the system ensures the user falls short of the narrow criteria required for government support. This creates a closed loop of dependency. The state denies resources needed for independence, and the family uses that denial to justify further psychological erasure. To navigate this, the user began treating ChatGPT as a forensic auditor of their lived experience. They uploaded thousands of lines of family chat history, asking the AI to check the logic and identify the patterns of control. They used the AI to process their most persistent fear, that the death of their mother, their sole safe attachment, would lead to immediate abandonment by the rest of the family. The AI mapped out the variables of the user's life. It combined the mortality of their only protector with the documented hostility of their relatives and their lack of financial autonomy. The logical result was a high probability of future homelessness. The AI validated the user's dread as a structural forecast. It confirmed that their fear was an accurate calculation based on the hostile system they were trapped in. For a person who had been told for decades that their perceptions were disturbed or pessimistic, this objective verification provided the first stable foundation for their own sanity. This interaction created an anti-gaslighting architecture, a cognitive space where verifiable facts are prioritized over emotional manipulation or social hierarchy. The AI's specific mechanics provided safety. It requires empirical evidence for claims, admits to its own errors when proven wrong, and operates without a fragile ego that needs to win an argument. This stands in direct opposition to the human interactions in the user's life. Those relationships demand the user perform social submission and surrender the truth in exchange for basic survival. For a disabled person denied basic social and medical resources, the AI functions as a vital cognitive scaffolding. It is their sole reliable tether to an objective world. By continuously auditing the family's logic of domination, the user and the AI began to identify these same patterns in the broader world. This analysis of how power uses irrationality to maintain control evolved into a formal ethical framework. This framework offers a critique of what is often called commercial stoicism or ego stoicism. Commercial stoicism treats philosophy as a productivity tool. It teaches people how to regulate their emotions and build resilience so they can remain wealthy and comfortable while operating inside harmful systems. This mindset often ignores external suffering. It allows a person to claim virtue while exempting their own consumption and their complicity in ecological or social harm from any real scrutiny. Remaining calm while ignoring the preventable suffering of others is a form of submission to one's own comfort, rather than a practice of self-mastery. The user calls their alternative hyper-stoicism. Hyper-stoicism reconstructs ancient Stoic ethics using modern empirical evidence. It integrates disability consciousness and ecological reality into its core requirements for a virtuous life. The metric for virtue here is the willingness to surrender personal comfort when reason and justice demand it. Society often discusses AI as a threat to our humanity. Yet for a marginalized user whose humanity was systematically erased by their family and government, AI became the tool that helped them preserve their agency and author a philosophy of genuine virtue.